So your Instagram is PHLATT.
I don't have Instagram. I don't
You
ha-
don't have
so
Instagram.
my it's just my YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't have Instagram.
Okay, that's fine. You too superstar to have Instagram. That's okay.
Too stupid, too superstar. Nah, I just don't deal in it. I don't know how to. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how it works, so I don't mess with it. I know how
No,
YouTube
you're
works.
good. You're good.
So,
You're good.
all right. So I'm gonna introduce us. Let's do that. Welcome everyone to Flatline. Today we have William Sintyl with us, and he comes from a very unique background because he is from Haiti. We haven't had any Haitians on the show, so thank you for spending some time with us today. Let's get to know who is William Sintyl. William, go ahead. Tell us just a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do now, and kind of where you're at?
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And I've heard great things about your show, and I'm so grateful to be part of it today. Well, I was born and raised in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Came from Haiti. I moved to the US in 2015. That's when I went to school. I went to Brigham Young University, and I went to LDS Business College, and also I went to Utah State. So I am the third child in the middle of five children. And growing up in
Wow.
Haiti, I learned how to play tennis. I graduated from my high school in Haiti, and I was a I was a tennis player for the country, and I love soccer. So when I moved here, I continued to play tennis. So I still take trip back to Haiti because of my foundation. I do run a foundation called Arise Project for Humanity. We work with young children, survivors from sex trafficking, like any type of young people. We empower them through our mentorship program to help them believe in themselves, change their mindset, create their life, and impact their communities. So my wife and I, we have three children and one dog. We live in Georgia. Just moved from Utah to Georgia. So I'm so grateful to be here.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. It sounds like you have a wealth of experience and knowledge. And so, what I want to try to do is just pick a couple pieces from your story, and then see what we can develop a little bit. Why were you so interested in tennis?
Growing up, I've always wanted to do things that people seems impossible to do, especially as a young kid from the middle class in Haiti. Tennis was the game for the rich people in Haiti. So I was driving one day, I saw rich people, people of white people were playing tennis in Haiti in Port-au-Prince. And I went back and I said to my mom, I would love to learn to play this game. And she told me that it's expensive, but if that's what you wanted to do, we'll pay it for you. So I started learning. I was the only kids from the middle class, and I was playing with all of these guys. They are owners of all the big businesses in Haiti. They came every Saturday with
Mhm.
their children and played tennis. And I became so well in that game. I understand the game so well, and I started to represent Haiti, and I started to win. And I feel like I broke that barrier of playing tennis in the middle of other people. And it it may seem impossible for some Haitians, but I truly believe that I can be anything I want. I can be part of anything I want. So that's why I wanted to play tennis. So I'm still playing today, but not as well as I used to be.
I'm curious about Haiti. Tell us just what is it like over there? What are the people like? What are some activities that people are involved in? Anything that you want to give us about Haiti?
First of all, I'm not going to say that Haitians are resilient because they are a better thing to say instead of resilient, which or people always say resilient, resilient. What about Haitians are wonderful? They work super hard. They are the most loving people you will ever met. When they love you, they are willing to give themselves to you. And growing up, it's always a dream going to the province, to where your parents came from every summer. That's where you go every summer. You went to visit your
Okay.
cousins, your grandma, your grandpa. You go on the beach every day, climb trees and play with your cousins, get to know each other. You get hurt, you cry, you laugh, you just experience everything. And then you came back in September to continue your school. So Haiti is wonderful. It's a beautiful country, a lot of beaches, and a lot of traffic too in Haiti. A lot of traffic. I don't know because we don't have enough road, enough highways, and it's a lot of traffics. And um, there's not this, there's not the there's not enough stability in Haiti, and
Okay.
people always moving around, moving around. So Haiti has been struggling for years with not having enough honest leaders to keep their words, to take the country in the best direction. So, but the people still hopeful that one day they will rise from the personal rubble. So, growing up, education was the key for me. I grew up going to private school, and there's a big difference in private school and public school. So growing up, I learned to speak French. Growing up, I didn't get to speak Haitian Creole on my daily basis because my parents wanted me to learn French, and they sent me to a private school so I can continue to speak French. But after the earthquake, which we will be talking about, I started really focus on speaking Haitian Creole more often because I was working with people outside of my circle. So
Mm-hmm.
Haiti, Haiti is known as the first black nation who claimed their independence. That was true. They fought for that. They did claim that independence. But a lot of times in life we stop doing things after we conquered the first battle. And for me, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we will have battle in our life every single day. If you stop after one battle, you won't be able to have the strength to continue the next battle. So Haiti fought that, but they just stopped. And I feel like Haitian needs to remember where they came from and who they are, so they can continue to conquer more battles, more fights. So I'm just grateful I came from Haiti. Um, like I said, they're really struggling right now, but I do believe that change is possible, especially for a wonderful country like Haiti.
That's beautiful. Um, that is definitely one of the places on my list that I want to go visit. So I definitely want to go see that place. Thank you for sharing that with us and your
I'll take
country and
you.
your people. Um, so you mentioned the earthquake. The earthquake was in 2009. Is that correct?
2010.
It was 2010. Okay. Um, how did that impact you? How did that impact your family, your cousins, your friends, your associates? How did that impact?
Well, the earthquake has not been um people have not been really recovered from the earthquake. They're still struggling from this earthquake because it was a 7 point something, and over 300,000 people died from the earthquake because of the way Haiti structure, the way they build houses. So after the earthquake, I was living in a tent with my family in a camp. So because our home was destroyed, so the earthquake also inspired me to find my purpose in life, why I survived, why I was the only one. At such a young age, I was 16, life has put me in a spot where I need to discover the reason why it's me, why God wanted to save my life, why I survived the earthquake. And the more I keep asking myself this question, the more I'm focusing on what I can do today. What can I do to make my life, my presence in this life better today or better for someone? So after the earthquake, we didn't have any water, no food, nothing to survive. But for me, that was the beginning of something much better, something greater for my life, and I felt it. So I used that earthquake as a victor to help transform my life.
That's awesome. Do you feel like your life is different now after the earthquake versus before?
In a lot of ways, I would say yes. Before the earthquake, I was great, and I was in high school. I was 16 when the earthquake happened. And to go back to that story, when I was in school, when my mom came pick me up that day, it was a Tuesday like today, a beautiful day, exactly today, Tuesday. And when my mom came pick me up from my high school, I was the only kid who left that school that day. And my mom felt like she needed to come pick me up. And then she dropped me off to my dad's orphanage. When I got there, 30 minutes later, the earthquake happened, and there were over 10 young children in that orphanage. So we all were
Wow.
collapsed under that building. The building was collapsed on top of all of us. So I feel like the earthquake made me who I am because I went through it and I come back with a better purpose, with a bigger purpose. So a lot of times in life we've been through tough time, but we let them define us instead of using them to define where we're going, to define us. So I use that earthquake in every single area of my life because if it wasn't for the earthquake, I wouldn't be able to know that God can answer my prayer. I wouldn't be able to know that my life is that important. Not that other lives are not important, but there is a reason why I'm here. Maybe I'm here to do something to help my country, to help the people of Haiti, to inspire the world with my story. So that's how I see it.
I love that. And you can just feel the strength and the power from what you're saying. And I don't know, you just kind of have that sense of what you're saying is true, like you just kind of feel that. And I'm grateful that you were able to survive that. And it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry for those who were affected by that, the 300 that you said or more that were killed. And then I know that the entire country was affected by it. So I'm grateful that you were able to come out of that stronger. You talked about challenges. I usually ask a question about challenges. I'm going to hit that in just a minute. So what I want to ask though is, do you feel at this point in your life, from the things that you've done, do you feel like you're successful?
That's a good question. I've always tried to stay away from that word, successful. Are you successful? Are you? Are you? Um, I'm so blessed to be in a spot where I can learn how to succeed. I've done a lot of things that I succeed in those things. That's how I will answer it. I'm in a spot where I continue to learn how to succeed in life.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm learning how to succeed in life, I can empower people to succeed in life.
And life is definitely ongoing, isn't it?
It is, it is.
So if you feel successful that you've been able to, or I guess blessed to be able to succeed in life, what would you consider to be the most challenging experience you've had to deal with? Just kind of dive into that a little bit.
I'm gonna have to breathe here. I thought that life wasn't gonna be that tough or hard or seems like impossible for me to fight until I began to see that my color was a problem for some people. I would say, beside everything I get to conquer in my life, go to school, working on my English, because I remember when I first came to Utah 7 years ago, I didn't speak English. I remember I had to take an English test as an international student that costs $160, and that money has to come from Haiti from my mom. So I took that test 5 times in order for me to succeed. That's how much I wanted that test so bad, because I know that once I get that test, I started school, I will be able to make my dream happen while I'm here in the US. So, and I'm not saying that fighting for my color in a victim way. I'm saying it in a positive way. but at the same time, there are a lot of negative things that I've been through. So I would say one of my challenge was, to be honest with you, the way people see color. So I had to start playing the games. How do I play the games? I had to wear a suit every single day to dress like the way I wanted to be treated. I had to take my family to introduce myself to every police station that I went to. If I'm living here in Lexington, I had to take my family to a police station and say, "Hey, I'm here, just moved here from Utah. This is my family. I would love to introduce myself." So those things are things I needed to do. So I feel like as a black man, a black wonderful man, by the way, so I had to work hard for basic respect that I know a lot of people didn't have to work hard for. So I have to earn my basic respect, my basic love, my basic treatments, which could be normal. I just pray that when people come to my house, I treat them the same way I would treat anybody. So, which is different for me. It's a big challenge. And I do believe that it's not by accident that we as black men are going through those challenges. And if we open our eyes, they'll continue to make us stronger, better, and more wonderful. Because a lot of times people might think that they are digging you or they are hurting you. Yeah, they are. But in another way, in another view, they're also making you a better person. And I think I'm a better father, a better citizen for my community because of all the things I had to go through because of me being a black man. And yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your questions the right way, but that's one of my biggest challenge. I didn't think that will be, but it is.
Now you answered it the way that you needed to and the way that people needed to hear it. So thank you. Um, those are challenges. And those are challenges that I'm not sure a lot of people recognize, especially with those who are immigrants like yourself, and not just an immigrant, but an immigrant of color. And something that I don't typically consider myself, and I'm a national of color, so that's just something that I haven't considered before. When I visited Ghana, because I served there for 2 years, it was neat to be in a country where I wasn't the only person that stood out, so that was unique to me. That was a whole different perspective. I was able to attend church services and I wasn't the only one that people noticed. I blended in, actually. And so on the flip side, you come here to a place where you do stand out, and sometimes not for the positive. So thank you for sharing that. And I do respect you. And I don't want to say I'm sorry for the nation, but I want to say I'm sorry as a person of color that you have to have that experience too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. So on the flip side of that, would you share with us a rewarding experience? So something that you would consider to be the most rewarding experience you've had. What is it? What happened? Just kind of give us some general ideas about it.
Yeah. My rewarding experience, like I say that I feel like my life has been saved for a purpose. And one of my rewarding experience, of course, beside marrying my wife, this is gonna be always my rewarding one, to see that she's still loving me beside everything, despite everything. But I would say my foundation. I get to think of best way I can help my country. Because growing up, I've seen that a lot of great organizations come to Haiti. They've done wonderful things, but nothing changed in the long term. So I wanted to do something that will change, that will create concrete change. So I started this mentorship program in Haiti, where I use the same principles that makes me a victor, that helps me change my mindset, see me as a victor, create my life, and be able to now inspire other people. I use all of these principles, affirmations, power of vision boards, the power of I am, creating order in your life, like all these principles that will really help change the way we see ourselves. I transform them into a curriculum to teach young people in Haiti in our mentorship program. So today we have over 7,000 young mentees who have been graduated from the mentorship program. And we've been in over 100 communities all across Haiti. And the best thing about that, it's all about Haitians empowering Haitians. Because I didn't want to create something where I'm going to bring my wife as a white woman to to Haiti to teach Haitians. It's not gonna work because she's not Haitian. She has no idea what they're going through. She knows what they're going through, but the feeling of them knowing that she knows it's not gonna come. You know what I mean? Because if I take
Yeah, I
my
do.
wife to Haiti, I'm speaking in a public school. When my wife started speaking, I don't feel anything in the room because they don't believe that she understands what they're going through. But when I'm
Yep.
the one standing and speaking, they believe it. They feel it, and they believe that if Williamson can tell me that he's been through that, I can too. So I use Haitians to empower Haitians. So I'm not saying I will say we. So this is one of my rewarding experience. So today we have this mentorship program all across Haiti, and now we are building the first mentoring center in the Caribbean for the people of Haiti. So it's something that I've always dreamed to see that how can my life can empower other people's life in my country of Haiti. Because I do believe that Haitians are wonderful, but the moment they start changing the way they see themselves, I believe that their life will change.
And that's where power comes.
Exactly.
Yep, that's where power comes. That's awesome. And congratulations on getting ready to build your facility. I know that that's going to be a wonderful unveiling for you.
Thank you.
Yep. Um, so, with all of the activities that you're doing, with all of the mentors, the 7,000 that you have that have graduated, and how do you find balance? What do you do to find balance in all aspects of your life? Because it sounds like you're a religious person, like you're a family man, you're a businessman. Not only that, but you're a civil servant, not just here, but in the United States, but also in your own nation, in Haiti. Um, other aspects. How do you find balance in between those activities?
If I love what I do, if I love what I want to do, I'm going to create time for it. So everything I do, I just love it. And I love waking up in the morning, go exercise myself. I love taking a cold shower. I love getting my boys breakfast while my wife's taking care of the baby. I love going back to work for a few hours, come back at 12, put them down for a nap so I can meet with you right now. It's 1, 2 o'clock. That's time for nap. They're napping. And I just love meeting new people. That's why I'm meeting with you. I love my meetings. I love my work with my foundation. I love feeding the animals early in the morning. So I just put my heart into everything I do and I create time for them.
Yep. And that's where purpose comes. And I love that. So I know you're busy and we only have a couple minutes left. I don't want to go over much of your time. So typically I close with 2 questions and they're kind of two-parter. So the first question I ask is, what have you learned about yourself? And it could be either in this session or it could be throughout your life. And then the second question is, what do you hope people learn about you or from you?
Yeah. I learned that I'm a go-getter. Nothing will stop me from getting the things, from achieving the things I wanted in life. Nothing. I learned that I deserve anything I want if I work for it. Anything. If I wanted something, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I started seeing it, I visualized it, and I started feeling it. So that's one thing I learned about myself. Anything I want in my life, I'm always focused on that thing, and I go and make it happen. And one thing I want people to learn is that as a survivor from the earthquake in Haiti, rising from the rubble, I feel like we all have our personal rubble that we are buried under. We have our personal rubble. And my rubble might be the earthquake. Your rubble might be doubts, might be something you're going through, might be abuse, might be anything. We all have our own personal rubble. But I can for sure tell you right now that you can rise from that. You can rise from your rubble. It could be your color. It can be your color, the way people treat you, or the way you see yourself, family members and neighbors. Those are your own rubble. But I can guarantee you that you can rise from them. But in order for you to rise from them, you must rise within yourself.
That's beautiful. Sometimes I just want to, give you like a standing ovation or something. You just kind of feel that truth and that power coming from you. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Is there anything is there anything that I didn't ask that you would love to share with us that you can think of?
I usually love talking about my wife. She hates that, but she's she's part of who I am. She's just
Yep.
She's my one and only, my best friend. So I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think you asked me the right question, the right feeling, the right moment.
Thank you. And greetings to your family and your wife, and I hope everything works out there with your center and getting that program up and running down there in Haiti. If
Hey,
there's
thank
any,
you.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So everyone, thank you for joining us today in the show. William Sintyl, we got to learn about him and his history and the organizations that he's involved with, all of the activities that he does. It sounds like he has many things that we can ask questions about. So if you have any questions, please post the comments, ask the questions. Maybe we can get Williamson back on the show if you're willing and able. We can get him back on here to answer some of those.
I will say yes.
Perfect. So thank you everyone